Welcome to Empowered by Iron, the podcast for female strength athletes by female strength athletes. We are your hosts, Kristen Lander from Fiercely Fueled Nutrition Coaching, and Mary Morton, PhD candidate and weightlifter. Together. Hey everyone, welcome to Empowered by Iron. This week we have Heather freaking Connor on, world record holder, two or three time world champion.
Actually, just one. I would love to say
Damn it, I thought it was
three.
twice. I could have sworn it was 2016 too.
I would love to say that, but I did place second at IPF Worlds 2016. So.
Okay, but still, like, you're a really big deal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get across.
Right. I actually looked up I actually was just recently looking up your numbers, and I think I did the math, and you deadlift like 3 3/4 times your body weight or something crazy like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not. It's close. My highest deadlift was 387 on the platform. Unfortunately, I'm ready to hit that 4 times the body weight, but under certain circumstances, we haven't been able to hit that on the platform yet. So hopefully at Nationals.
So close. Yeah,
Nationals.
And so you compete in USAPL.
That's correct.
So you have RAW Nationals coming up. Actually, when this goes live, it'll be like the next week, I think.
Yeah.
Like the
it's cutting down super fast.
Yeah. How are you feeling about it? Are you ready?
I'm ready. I think as every other powerlifter is feeling right now, we're starting to feel that peak set in. So any type of weight feels super heavy. I was benching today and I was texting my coach like, I'm dying. Like, this is something that like would fly on a regular day, but because we're starting to get to the end of the cycle, weight's starting to feel a little bit heavier, my body's fatiguing, it's prepping me to like let the healing begin and then get ready for the platform.
Right. So what you're experiencing is completely normal. And so for our listeners that maybe haven't experienced that or are experiencing that for the first time, don't freak out.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing to do. Normal. It's the first thing to do. Oh my God, like, what's this feeling? And I'm like, just relax. Like, we tend to forget that it happens like every single cycle. And then we're like, oh yeah, I felt this way last time. But, people get scared. They think something's wrong. And then come platform time, they're like, oh, I'm feeling good.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. But it is. The first time it happens, especially leading up to a big meet, is very terrifying. And you think like, oh my gosh, I suddenly suck. Like, I'm going to do bad. I'm not going to be able to do anything. Yeah. But you're going to crush it. It'll be great. I'm excited to see it.
That's my plan.
If you guys are listening this week, it'll be next week. And I believe it's broadcast live. So check the details for when all of your favorite people will be lifting, especially Heather.
Yep.
So, Heather, who are you? Like, you're just this lifter on Instagram who can lift really heavy weights, but like, who is Heather?
Well, I'm actually a pretty boring person. I am from a super small town in North Carolina where I spent all my time as a child outside, whether it be chasing snakes in the woods or I was surfing or doing anything I probably wasn't supposed to be doing. I was a troublemaker. That's what I did. But I grew out of that. I cheered in high school. I did track, played a little bit of basketball, gymnastics. And then it wasn't actually till after high school, after college, just lifting weights in the gym that I was approached about powerlifting. And so it began my 3-year process of doing that. But really, I was a teacher at one time. And, that's something a lot of people don't know about me. That's what I went to school with prior to exercise science. And I love teaching, but it was so much stress on my body that it was time for a change. So.
How old are you?
I am 26 years old.
So you're a youngin'. You've already had a career change and you're 26. That's awesome.
Yeah, like, I've done a lot as a 26-year-old. I told you I grew up in a small town and I was always into things. So one day I was like, I'm moving to California. And that's exactly what I told my parents. And they're like, what are you talking about? And literally the next month, I packed my car and I headed to California. Drove all the way across country. Took me about 5 days because I stopped and anywhere I wanted to see. Spent a good amount of time out there. I came back to North Carolina, so I made that trip again. And it was life changing. You know, it was something a lot of people never experience in their lifetime. So I got to do it twice.
Dang. That's awesome. What part of North Carolina are you from?
Currently, I am Holden Beach, North Carolina. It's a little island near, not too far from Wilmington, North Carolina, and about 30 minutes north of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So a lot of people are familiar with that area that might be listening.
Mhm.
I have my best friend lives in Ocean Isle, and it is so you're right there. It's
Right, it's
beautiful there.
right down the road. Yes, I love
Yeah.
it. It's one of my, you know, a lot of people come down here and they want to know all the hot spots and they'll just like tell me what's going on. I'm like, no, leave me alone.
That's awesome.
Okay, so you moved across country to California, but now
Mhm.
you're back. What
I am
happened?
back. Nothing really like you know,
That sounded so bad.
What went wrong in California?
no, you know, nothing went wrong. It was just like one of those things, like as quick as I was like, oh, I would move out to California. It just, you know, I had a job, I had everything, and then I was like, I wanna go back to North Carolina. You know, I'm a huge family person, and you know, my grandmother actually had gotten sick with lung cancer. So my big motive behind actually going back to North Carolina was for her. My sister being the closest person to me, going spending every single day with her, and then it's like, oh well, here's a phone call. My family, they hated me out there. We would Skype every Sunday. I made an Instagram post actually today stating that every Sunday is spent with my family. And when I would Skype them, like my grandma would cry, and I'm like, great.
Oh.
Like, and you think like, oh, it's gonna get better. Like she's gonna stop crying. She's gonna be cool with it. Nah, like every Sunday it was the same thing. So I'm
Oh
like,
no.
well, I gotta do it for grandma, you know. So,
Yeah, you can't make your grandma cry. It makes you look bad as a
I know, and I
human.
did it plenty, and I'm like, I'm just a horrible person. Let me just quit this real quick.
So now you're in North Carolina and you're not a teacher anymore, so you
No,
coach, I'm assuming?
I am an international strength and conditioning coach. So I have
Shit.
athletes ranging from North Carolina all over the United States, and then I have a few lifters that are in different countries such as Australia, Canada, and England.
Do you ever travel to those places just so you
Uh,
can help your athlete, quote
I
unquote?
have, well, I was going to England one time, and it just so happened that there was somebody competing that I was actually coaching, so it did make it a little bit more convenient. Um, I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, let's be honest. I would love to go
Yeah.
there anytime I want to, but you know, I do still have my own training I gotta do. I do, however, make a whole regimen of their warm ups and what their attempts should be, and they are checking in with me after every attempt to let me know how things go. So it works out for
That's
both of
cool.
us. Yeah.
So you're a good coach. You're not one of those coaches. It's like, here's some crappy program. Good luck.
No, it's weird because like I see all the time how these people are like, yeah, I never hear back from my coach. I'm like, well, I know these motherfuckers got their phone or something on them all the time with their emails coming in. Like, it's not hard to look at a text message. Like, you have these people who are paying you to help them become stronger, and you can't look at their texts and respond to them. Like, will I respond right away? Sometimes, yes, but if I'm actually doing something else, I will get back to them as soon as I can. Because they do send me the videos. And as a coach, it's important for me to view their videos so they can know like what they're doing wrong. If I don't allow them to know what they're going to do wrong, they can do whatever they're doing wrong on that platform. And then it's on me for not catching
Right.
it before. So,
You preach. That is such a problem. Actually, Kristen and I have been talking a lot about that. How people who go from nothing, they don't know anything, and it's like 3 weeks later, all of a sudden they're like this fitness nutrition expert. Like, let me write you a program for free. It's not a big deal. And all of a sudden you're like,
Girl.
who the fuck are you?
Right. Like there was this girl that just went 3 for 9 at Worlds, who has been coach hopping like a crazy lady, and then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks after Worlds, she wants to be like online coaching. I'm like, but why? Like, you can't even figure your own life out. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not saying that every coach needs to be some medaled lifter, but like, you need to know.
You need to know what you're doing.
You need to know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
And you need to know at least what it kind of feels like to do what you're doing. Like, I'm not saying, as a powerlifting coach, you probably don't feel insanely comfortable coaching a bikini lifter, right?
I actually had a bikini lifter come to me, and she's pregnant. So, like, plot twist on me there, too. So not only did she come from here, but, hey, I got this going on. Help me out. So, I have her doing a lot of things that she's definitely not used to, and definitely not used to eating as much, aside from being pregnant. But, when it comes to these coaches just out of the blue, coming out of nowhere, I can't help but laugh and wonder, like, what actually makes you think that you're qualified? Like, what have you done? Like, I'm not sitting here saying, like, you have to have a doctorate or anything like that. But I sit here with a degree, certifications, and a lot of other things, not just for strength and conditioning, but what's actually going to help the person overall with whatever set goals they have. Even with nutrition, like, if I'm not educated in that field, I'm not going to give you information on it. Right. But it's one of those things. I laugh about it, and I can hope for the best for whoever they're going after.
That's one thing that does really drive me crazy about this industry. I love the strength community. I'm super passionate about strength and nutrition, and it drives me crazy when people are out there like taking money from people and they don't fully have like much for credentials. Drives me crazy.
Right.
I could go on about that forever.
Sometimes, like, I feel bad for even throwing out my price sometimes, and I'm like one of the cheapest on the markets, and I'm like, dang, like, I mean, I started out low, so good job to whoever came to me first, and it was free. But, I want to build on what I was doing. I didn't want to just make somebody pay something that I could not offer them at the time. So while I was working on myself, I was also working on building up my background so I could give them an offer and it be one that was reasonable rather than, somebody like, I had a girl come to me. She went to somebody that had no idea what they were talking about. He made her pay $500 up front. And he gave her a link to, this is what you should be doing. And I was sad for her. I was like, what are you doing? And, a coach should never be sending you a video saying, okay, watch this and come back to me and tell me what you learned. And then when she noticed that she was doing strongman competitions, like, training as a strongman, but going towards powerlifting, she questioned him about it. And he got mad. He got super mad and got really defensive, and she cut ties with him. So because of me being a very sensitive person towards things like that, I did cut her a break. I was like, look, I'll give you the first 2 months free so you can just kind of get your finances back in order from when he just screwed you over a little bit.
Yeah, because they fuck you sideways, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I contacted someone a while back when I was looking for a coach, and I was like, I'm just curious because I kind of know what you should be charging.
Right.
Like, well, what are you charging? She's like, well, I require 3 months commitment, and it's about $900. I'm like, really? For 3 months? She's not my coach, so.
I was about to say, well, let me just throw you out my card real quick. Because I don't require, I don't require anybody to, pay me in advance. I tell them the rundown. They know what they're getting. Everybody has their own system, though. I'm not going to hold anybody under me. If you want to leave, see you later, bye. I'm just going to hope that my program keeps you around. And so I'll send out programming once every week on Sundays. Everybody gets at the same time. That way, if they don't, give me that monthly payment come those 4 weeks, well, you're also not going to get that program. Some people will send like a month in advance, like they're programming in advance, and then all of a sudden they're wondering where their payment is. I'm not going to get fooled, like I'm not going to give you a month of free programming without, but yeah, so it's one of those things. Like, I mean, my lifters, we do have great communication. If they're going to be late on a payment, they let me know because it's life. Sometimes things happen. As long as you let me know, I understand. Like, don't just go all ghost on me. Like, I know it's close to Halloween, but let's not dress up as that part yet. Like, just let me know and we can take care of it. I'm not going to be sour about it.
So your main job is being a power lifter and coaching powerlifters,
right?
Or coaching strength athletes. So how did you, like, I know you did a lot of sports in the past, but like, how did you specifically get into powerlifting and competing in powerlifting?
Some people have these like great, like these great stories, these powering stories of. I'm gonna be real with you. I was literally at the gym and there was this guy there. I call him the preacher of the gym. I mean, he does no working out, he talks. And he's gonna talk to you whether he knows you or not. And he came up to me, yeah, one of those. So he came up to me and he was like, hey, there's a couple people doing a powerlifting competition about 3 weeks and they need somebody else from the gym to join since somebody backed out. Would you be interested? And I'm like, well, I literally have nothing better to do. So I was like, okay. So like the next day I was like, I got 3 weeks, let me train. I didn't know a single damn thing about powerlifting. I didn't even care to look it up. So I just knew that I was supposed to lift heavy to win.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all I needed. That's what I thought. That's all I needed. So like the night before, I went out with some friends. I'm like shoving pasta in my face. I mean, when I say pasta, it was a lot. I didn't care. Like, next day, I'm like, well, I guess it's time to go to this competition. It was like, I knew I had to weigh in, but I weighed in with, like, my singlet underneath my clothes with my shoes and everything. So I weighed in at, like, 107 pounds. And so I was like, cool, I'm good with it. Like, I was warming up.
She gives no fucks. She was just like, whatevs. All these girls are next to you, like, we're stepping on naked, and you're like, whatevs, man.
You got my shoes
on.
Yeah,
like, I was
we're
like,
good.
I saw a girl weighing naked, and I'm like, wow, that's really weird. And, like, I just, like, whatever. And so I weighed in. They're like, oh, you're in the 52 class. I'm like, cool, I don't even know what that means. So I was warming up. Squats, like, I can look back at these videos and I'm like, dang, why am I that person? You could tell I was nervous. My walkout, like, I'm pretty sure I could have almost walked off the platform. I walked out so far. I didn't know commands. And it was during bench that I bombed out. And
oh, no.
As soon as I bombed out, like, I got my first lift, but it got turned down because I wasn't listening to the commands, which is, I still don't, obviously, but like, but it's like, you would think I learned my lessons, but, bench has always been my worst things. But when I bombed out, I turned to the head judge and I was like, oh, fuck you. I blamed him, like, instantly. So,
Heather.
right. Like, so again, like, I was still in that mentality where I can do and say whatever I wanted to.
So this goes back to your childhood days of, like, getting into trouble and doing things you shouldn't. Okay, fair.
Right. And so I had actually a woman that was there. Her name was, you know what? I'm actually gonna leave her name out because I ain't gonna be mean. Because I'll mention her later on in this podcast. But she told me at this time she was very inspiring to me, and she told me, she's like, look, you're very strong, but you gotta let go of your mouth. She's like, it's gonna get you nowhere in this sport. I was like, what the fuck this bitch means? You don't even know me. So, so I left and I went to Outback and I cried and I ate a steak. But it was one of those things where I was so upset with myself because I spent those 3 weeks where I could have been doing nothing, like really like testing myself, like how strong am I? So it was kind of like a letdown, like I let my own self down, and in reality, it was my fault. So as soon as I got home, I found the next competition, which was in March. That competition I just competed at was like in November. And I signed up for it, got on the wait list, and 2 weeks prior to the competition, I got off the wait list. So I'm like, oh shit, well, here we go. So that was a fun one though.
So how long ago was this? How long ago was your very first meet?
3 years ago.
Okay.
Yep.
You've come a long way in 3 years.
I have. Well, I actually came a long way within that just a short few months, because, you know, I did take what that lady said to me. I took it to heart. Like I was pissed off at first, but then I realized that she was trying to help me. It might not have been the way I wanted to hear it because I was a cocky son of a bitch, but, you know, and I still am. I'm not going to say I'm not, but it wasn't until she said that I actually started listening to other coaches. I left the gym that I was at, got with a coach, learned the commands, and then that following competition, I competed as a junior and broke every junior American record, went 9 for 9, and just fucking smoke show. And I won best lifter that time.
So she came back with a vengeance is what happened.
Oh yeah, I was angry. I was so angry that time.
Something that we get a lot of comments from our listeners is their first meet and they're really nervous to do it and whatnot. So now that you're 3 years in and looking back on what was a very interesting first meet, what is what is your best advice to give someone going into their first meet? I mean,
the best advice I can give to somebody, and I actually heard it from somebody higher up in the federation, is to take each lift one by one. Don't worry about what the other girl's doing. And a lot of females, that's what they want to do. Well, a lot of competitors, period, they worry so much about what the person competing against them is doing. And that's not what you're supposed to do. Powerlifting is a huge number game. You can play your numbers right and come out on top. But, I mean, the nerves, they're going to be there. I still get them before the first squat. But after that first squat, you feel good. And you just got to remember to have fun. Those people who you think are your competition, they're actually going to be your best friends after that competition. So just go in there, have fun, and don't be an asshole. Like, cheer on these people and don't say fuck you to the head judge because that's not good.
No. I kind of want to go back to this first meet though. Like, what about this experience of your first meet made you want to do it again? Was it because you bombed out and it just like lit a fire under your ass, or like what was it about it that made you like, oh, I got to do this again? Because some people would have had that experience and been like, well, I'm never doing that again.
It was that. I like it lit that fire that I needed. It humbled me a lot because I went in there cocky. I was that person that was concerned about what everybody else was doing. Like, I had to be competitive, and what I want to do so bad, it backfired on me. And, you know, again, like, I let my own self down, and I've always been competitive in my life. I hated losing. So knowing that I allowed myself to lose by being stubborn and ignorant, you know, going in there not knowing shit about powerlifting, that was a big no-no. You know, it did make me want to do better for myself. I did see that lady at the next one. I did thank her for, you know, help tell me that, because had she not told me that, I probably still would have been running my mouth that whole time. So.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Awesome.
Okay, so, I had a question about, we'll move on from that. Okay, so you're a coach, you are a power lifter, you have nationals coming up. What is kind of something that some people may not know about you, besides the fact that you were a teacher, but something that's not related to powerlifting that maybe you really like to do? Because we have a lot of powerlifters that we come on, they're like, well, I just love powerlifting, and that's all great, but like, is there anything else you like to do? I mean, besides eating and stuff.
Well, I love eating food, period, but I love being outdoors. I love surfing, like, it's my favorite. I love hiking. I love, you know, my coach gets so mad because I'll be out in the water and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm chilling. And he's like, no, you're getting too much cardio in. And, it's one of those things that it's like self-meditation. Especially when these bigger competitions come up, more podcasts will come out. They'll be talking about me. There's a lot of posts, and I can either allow those posts to allow my head to get bigger than my body, which I know isn't that big at all, but I like to think it is sometimes.
At 47 kilos.
But I like to do things that take me out of that environment, because I love traveling. I love taking pictures. I love being able to spend that time with my family. A lot of people get so consumed in the sport and the dieting that comes with the sport sometimes that they forget to enjoy those little moments. People are dieting through holidays. Like, you can eat. It's not that serious. Like, just go to the gym the next day and do that cardio that you got to get that weight off. But I hate for the people that forget to enjoy the little things in life. They get so wrapped up, and for me, it's just getting out and just being able to enjoy where I'm at, whether it be with my family, my dog, who's the greatest ever.
What kind of dog?
You know what? That's a great question. She's a rescue.
Nice.
She is they want to say a Chihuahua mix, but she's big. So who knows? But her name is Mrs. Buttersworth.
Nice.
And, she is probably like the best part of me. I suffer from extreme anxiety. So when I see her and I play with her, like, it's gone. It's gone. So I love taking her for those walks and, going these places with her, my family, just, get away from powerlifting for a little bit.
I really like this, diving into a little bit more of the mental aspect, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, especially on Instagram. Let's just talk about Instagram for a minute. When they see all these people, they just assume that your life is all consuming of powerlifting. But I don't think that a lot of people take the step back to realize that, hey, there's a mental game in this too. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
need to make sure this is okay before anything else.
Right. And
Speaking of dogs, my dog just laid on the power cord. Hold on. Dixie.
We'll be right back.
Over here. Over here. Good girl. That's a good girl.
That's hilarious.
Whoops. Yeah,
And,
so
it's a big mental thing. And, I do have a lot of people that are like, why don't you post the personal stuff on social media? Like, it's very rare that you will see a picture of me, my significant other, me and my sister, or me and my family, because social media is social media. I post a lot of lifting, and a lot of times I'll get healthy comments, and I get those comments that are just mean, and people are going to be mean. It's cool, but I will not allow them to know that personal part of me to where they can kind of use it against me when they want to. Like, say what you want to about me, but these people that aren't even in the situation, like, I'm not going to allow them to take. It's like, that's my happiness. Powerlifting, yes, it's a stress reliever, but my ultimate happiness is my family. And, I will not allow them to take or pick at that part of my happiness. Like, you have to have, that separate part. And so I choose not to post a lot of personal business on there, because people are always looking for some, and I ain't gonna get to them. So,
Well, I just think that it's really important too that you are a world champion.
yes,
one time.
One
Not two,
time.
not three.
One
That's
time.
all right. You are a
future.
you are-
She's just
So,
thinking
yeah.
ahead.
I'm just playing it here.
Yeah.
So you're a world champion
Mhm.
powerlifter, and you make this like distinct separation. Like, hey, powerlifting's awesome. And it's what I do, and it's what I'm good at, but it's not my entire life. And you make sure to have separate parts of your life that are
Of course.
just for you. And I think that that's really awesome, because it is really, really easy to get caught up in that world and kind of just make it your whole life.
Right.
And then I think that that becomes really dangerous when we have things like injuries that occur or just other things that happen in life that maybe, you know, you never know. Like you might not be able, something might happen, you might not be able to compete tomorrow.
Right.
And so I think it's
Right.
so important, even when you're at the very top, like you are, that like you have other things that you really enjoy and that make you feel fulfilled. That's awesome.
Right. And, you know, I was actually this weekend supposed to compete in Spain at the European Arnold. And I was actually going to go see the eclipse in Charleston. And I was just thinking about one of my family members deploying. And at first, it was those set days where I would be in Spain and they'd be leaving. And I mean, I was so set on going, like, I'm going to break this world record. I'm going to do this, this, this. But then I just, like, I don't know what clicked in my head. And I broke down in Charleston. And they're like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm not doing the Arnold. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm texting my coach. I'm not doing the Arnold. I was like, you know, there's one thing I learned in the military. They change their mind all the time. Okay. Now, he ain't set to leave now till, you know, October, like the beginning of October. However, because of how frequently things change with him, I just had it somewhere in the back of my mind. What if I'm in Spain and he leaves and I can't tell him goodbye? I, like, heaven forbid something happened, but had something might have happened, I'd never forgive myself. And, you know, family is, because I do hold it to such priority and so high on my shelf. I was like, there's other opportunities to break a world record, but I'm not going to miss this opportunity to spend my family before I don't get to see him for 6 months. So it was hard for me to, you know, say, no, actually, I'm not doing this. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not hard for me to be able to enjoy that time with my family still. So
I really like that. It's just something you don't hear. And of course, when you pulled out, I'm sure people were like, "Oh, she can't do it," and they just talk shit. But
well, it would have been. Let me just say, it would have been an easy win, actually. Like, so you know what? I actually did it, so y'all could win. How about that?
She's just thinking of other people. What a
Just
worldly
being
person.
nice.
Want to give everyone that opportunity. That's funny.
I just love how, huh?
I just want the spotlight off of me.
Yeah.
I just love how personable you are. You're very relatable to, I think, both of us, because I don't like sharing. Like I've never posted anything about my husband on social media.
Right.
If anything, I share my dog. But it's so easy to start like, oh, well, if I share this, I get more likes, or if I do this and this and this, and then your relationship becomes with your phone. But I mean, we could talk about that for hours.
Right. And you
know,
know, like myself, I'm sure that y'all have experienced some things in your life that you really weren't ready to experience, and you know, those hard times, and it's those hard times that make you realize what's really important in your life to begin with. And you know, I came into powerlifting with my family up here, you know, at the top, and I was not, you know, even though powerlifting became higher on that shelf, you know, it's still not ever going to get to that point where I forget what's most important. So
family first.
Yep.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, like if something bad happens, they're going to be there. You know,
Yeah, right.
This sport ain't going to be there for me. I can have babies. I can't be powerlifting with 9 months pregnant. Like, I mean, I could, but you know, I'm probably not going to. So
there might be some technical difficulties if you try to do that. Just saying.
You don't need an angry pregnant person yelling "fuck you" to everybody, then they just think I'm senile, and you know, she just needs to have this baby. It's hormones.
She's not senile. She's pregnant. It's okay. Okay.
That's the life.
So, this whole podcast we created as a platform to help women. It's a resource we use for women. All of our listeners listen because it's a podcast by females, for females, which is pretty rare in the industry.
Right.
But the one thing that our mission is that you know, being empowered by iron means you take what you learn at the bar and you apply it to your life. So what does being empowered by iron, what does that mean for you, and how have you applied it to your life outside of powerlifting?
Well, okay, so if people see any time that I'm competing, they will see me yelling at the bar. They'll see me, just amped up, ready to go. And I get it. Some people see that as her being like super extra, but that's what I do. That's what I like. You know, um, like I've told you at the very beginning, I was a mean child. I was aggressive, and again, like there's some things that happen in your life that they fuel you that anger. And last year, literally Sunday, when I couldn't do that podcast, my nephew passed away. And again, it was the peak of nationals, and I was in a very bad spot. I was angry. I was not the person you want to be around. I wasn't thinking about training. I was thinking more so, what am I going to do for my sister? What am I going to do for the rest of my family? Because I had it planned out that the baby was going to be here. Everybody was going to watch the live stream at my sister's while being able to play with Noah, and they were going to watch it and celebrate because I had dedicated nationals to him. Okay. Now, this unfortunate situation happens. So now none of my family is about to be at nationals, and they're going to be taking care of my sister. And that was the first competition where not one of my family members were there. And it hurt. Like, I was angry, and I had so much support on my side. Got to nationals, and I had people giving me their condolences. I would like to thank USAPL for taking the time during the live stream to give their condolences to my sister, who they knew was watching. And instead of, dedicating nationals to the birth of Noah, I was then dedicating it to his remembrance. It was all for him. And that anger that I was feeling for losing him and the hurt that I saw in my sister, I targeted that in my training. I took a negative situation and I pushed it towards a positive. I pushed it to how it was going to better me, not just mentally, emotionally, but physically as well. I was testing my true nature and letting that aggression push me in the right direction rather than letting it fall back and me just say, you know what, I'm pulling out nationals. I can't do this right now. And I went 9 for 9 that day. My sister, it went until 1 o'clock in the morning, but it was that text message I got at 1 o'clock in the morning from my sister that reminded me why I was doing it in the first place. It had nothing to do with anybody in that crowd. It had nothing to do with me winning, but it had everything to do with why I was there in the first place. And it was for what had just happened. And some people, like, they're able to show those emotions, while others are allowed to keep it closed in. And, a lot of people, when they see me screaming, when they see me doing this, they just got to understand it's fueled by something. It's fueled, and that's how I'm going to push past this competition. So
that's amazing. I think that first of all, I'm sorry to hear that grief and sadness that your family feels, but I think that so many of us that are in lifting, whatever type of lifting we do, I think that these things do give us it gives us an outlet for dealing with that grief and dealing with it in a positive way, instead of, dealing with it in ways that are self-destructive. You can deal with it in a way that is pushes you to be better and process it in a little bit, I think, healthier way. And it
right.
also fuels your lifting, but
Yeah, and at the end of the day, as any lifter, no matter what sport you compete in, you got to know the why. Why am I doing this? Why is this so important to me? And once you forget it, that's when you start going downhill. You can't forget where you came from. You can't forget why you started this whole process in the first place.
That actually we recorded an episode that's going to go out the week before yours, and that's exactly what we said. We had someone say, you know, I may not be able to do powerlifting or whatever lifting that she does, and she's really distraught. How can she handle it? And we were like, well, first think of like why you did it. Is this your outlet for dealing with things? Is this for fun? Like, if you literally can't lift, if there's something physically stopping you from lifting, you have to find something else. Maybe you go on a hike every day. Maybe you do something, but it's so important to know what lifting means to you, so that if it's just, we're not just going to the gym for 3 hours a day and wasting our lives. Like, there's a reason we go every single day.
Right.
Well, except for Sundays, because that's my day off.
Right. That's my day off too. So I'm with you on that one.
But yeah, definitely knowing your why is huge, and I think it helps us when things get difficult in the gym, like, why am I here? And it also helps us outside of the gym, knowing, like, is this something I want to continue doing? And I lost someone really close to me a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, and he's who got me into, I compete in weightlifting, and he's who got me into that. And I was almost like, I was so upset. Like, I don't even know if I can go pick up a barbell right now, because like this was something that we did together and we loved together, and it was so painful. And then I was like, I sat there and I was like, no, because I could just hear him saying in my head, like, quit being a fucking pussy and go to the damn gym. And that really, for a while, was, my coach asked me, he's like, do you need some time off? And I was like, no, if I take time off, like, this is how I'm going to deal with this, is like, in his honor, to do this stuff and be my best every day. And it really helped me process that. And so I think that, I mean, there's tons of examples of ways that lifting, I think, really empowers us to take control over situations that we don't have control over.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I love it. So, final question, now that we've picked your brain and made you totally vulnerable. What do you wish that the Heather who is now 26 and a world champion, what do you wish the Heather at whatever year old you were when you first competed, what do you wish she knew?
I wish, now this is where I'm saying this is going to sound mean towards things. I wish that she would have known that the same people in this sport who she looked up to are going to be the same people who turn their back on you.
Woo!
You know, there's a lot of jealous people in this sport. And I've had a lot of people that I've looked up to hate when you succeed, because you're getting as good as them, if not better, and they don't like it. You know, I had goals. I broke them, and now I set new ones. You know, that same person who inspired me with her words was the same person who, after 2016 IPF Worlds, where I placed second, I went for the gold on my final deadlift, which was a huge jump. It would have been gold in total and gold, or a new world record in the deadlift, and I missed it. It didn't even budge. But she told me, she goes, oh, you're going to get it anyways. And I was like, you're supposed to be my friend. Like, why would you not say to me, you know, you'll get it next time? But she didn't. And I know that it was because of how fast I was coming up in the sport. And I think she thought if I got any better, then I was going to stop associating with her. But I stopped associating with her because she was no longer someone who was wanting me to go forward. She was wanting me to stay right where I was at. And now that I do have that damn world record, and I don't talk to her, if she were to ever listen to this podcast, I could tell her to kiss my ass. You know, I work hard for what I do. And, you know, to every new lifter, old lifter, whatever kind of lifter you want to call it, you know, you got to do you, worry about you. People aren't going to like you. People are going to love you. But at the end of the day, you can't change who you are. They might not like your mouth. Keep on talking. Because What's that going to do? I mean, they are not the reason I'm succeeding. I am. So if I want to run my mouth, I want to run my mouth. If they want to come down to my level, which chances of that happening are not, they can. But unless you're competing for me or against me, don't tell me how to compete because I'm going to do me, you're going to do you. What I do want for everybody is to have good competition, be successful in their competitions, and do the best that they can do. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't matter if I'm 90 pounds ahead of you going into nationals. Do what you can do, and that's what's going to get my respect because you worked your ass off to get at where you are. So, you just got to look past those people, recognize who's there for you, recognize who ain't because it can change quick.
That's powerful.
That really is.
I saw a quote recently that said, everyone wants to be your friend until they realize you're the competition.
Right.
And it sounds like that's exactly what happened to you. And that sucks. That sucks to think that you've looked up to someone that is suddenly like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I like you being as good as me or better than me or whatever. And that you're going to learn when you get to the top, you learn who your friends are.
Oh yeah, and to this day, I still get those looks. I get told what I should and should not do. Well, when you are better than me, then you can tell me what probably I shouldn't do. But until then, just leave me out of it. Like, again, like you don't have to like me, you can like me, whatever. It's not going to change who I am as a lifter. I'm going to still progress as I can and only wish them to progress as well. So I think that's what other lifters hate the most is when they can be so ugly towards you, but you can still at the end of the day congratulate them on their performance. They hate it.
Be a happy ass person that pisses off angry people.
Yeah.
I'll say something really smart and then smile on your face.
Give a thumbs up.
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes that my dear old father told me. He goes, I don't understand why people don't like me. It doesn't bother me. My wife likes me. My dog likes me. My kids like me. Who else matters?
Exactly.
And that's
who else matters?
Who else matters? As long as your dog likes you and your family loves you, what the fuck?
Exactly. And when we're talking about quotes, I did stick with people like, why are they so mad at me? Why do they hate me so much? And what have I done to them? And it was my pastor. He said, well, let me tell you something. Excuse my language. He said, but I'm going to let you know it's a hell of a lot easier pissing people off than it is to please everyone. I was like, shit, that's true. I can piss off plenty of people in a day, but I mean, I could be a saint to some people. I could be volunteering at every shelter in the world, but that's not going to make somebody like me. They have their reasons. It's fine. I'm not going to waste my energy trying to get them to change it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and at the end of the day, it like Mary said, it matters what your family thinks of you
Right.
and what you think of you, really. And for you, you have put your family at, the top priority in your life. And so that makes it when things like this happen in sport or whatever, when someone doesn't like you for something that is something for really no fault of your own or just because you're the competition, if you've got the people that love you and support you, you've already put them ahead of all of those other people, then
Right.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Right. Because I'm competing for them, not you. You know what I mean? So just remember what your why, who's with you, who's against you, all good.
Love it. All right, Heather. Well, where can everyone find you, and where can everyone reach you if they have questions about coaching?
Everything's in my Instagram bio. It's Stay Fit with Heather. Email stayfitwithheather@gmail.com. Pretty easy to get to me.
I noticed.
So.
I like it.
Yeah, so I am quick to get emails as soon as I see them. So if anybody's looking for coaching, they know where to reach me. So.
Awesome. Well, good luck at Raw Nationals. We'll be cheering for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for being on.
Thanks. Y'all have a good one.